So, as you will have noticed, gentlemen, one story predominated. Let's take a look at the Daily Mail's front cover for their take on it.
Yes, they've got, has Rishi done the impossible? And they're saying so many thought it couldn't be done, but as PM hails historic Ulster deal with the EU, the threat of Tory rebellion appears to melt away. So the Mail is very bullish on this. They think the threat of the rebellion's gone. Rishi smashed it. Of course, they don't mention the DUP. They mention it within the piece. That's the big question. What are the DUP going to make of it? Because they did feel they were left out of the negotiations, from what I gather. And just for the viewer, if you don't know all the details of this deal, basically there are three main areas. There's the free flow of trade, where they're going to have these green lanes for the products that will be sold domestically in Northern Ireland, and red lanes for the ones that will be moved on to the Republic of Ireland. And there's going to be data sharing between UK and EU to stop smuggling. There's a single market issue, where the Northern Ireland was under the EU regulations for state aid, alcohol duty and VAT. The deal fixes that. And then there's the ECJ issue, the fact that they'll be under the jurisdiction of the ECJ, which is sort of controversial, because the EU says, well, if you're part of the single market, you have to be part of the ECJ. So there was talk of them having a sort of Norway. This gives a sort of Norway-style deal we've heard about Norway-style deal for Northern Ireland. So anyway, it's all a bit complicated. We all have to become experts on the Northern Ireland protocol.
It sounds like you've grasped it quite well, Nick.
Those are the basics. But the problem is, what do the DUP think? That's the big question. Which latest I saw is that we still don't know.
What are their sentiments likely to be, do you think?
Well, they've been very sceptical. They've been saying we've not been involved in the negotiation process. Sunak seems to have gone for let's get this good deal, then we'll just show it to them, and they'll just be happy because it'll be so good, rather than involve them. But the criticism was, why didn't he at least tell them, even though they have to be quite secretive negotiations, why didn't he give them an indication of what it was going to be?
Yeah. And Boris, too, is keeping his powder dry, Francis.
Well, absolutely. And the DUP have actually said they were quite understanding at the start of negotiations. They said it will take as long as it takes. The most important thing is that we get a good deal, and a good deal for Northern Ireland. And the worry is that if the DUP don't like the deal, if that side of the argument isn't on board, it could very well scupper the deal. And in a worst-case scenario, we could see tensions between Catholics and Protestants being inflamed again, particularly when it comes to the border.
Quiet. I know a lot of people. I remember having rows on Twitter where people were saying that there had been a cavalier attitude amongst the Westminster elite towards Brexit, which actually that wasn't true because Westminster didn't want it to happen. But the Brexit vote had, thrown the peace process under the bus in order to separate from Europe. In reality, it's actually, I know there's been a flare-up recently, but there's been an extraordinary degree of calm and patience, really, I think, in terms of sectarian violence over the last 6 years.
Well, I think that what both sides realise is that this needs to be done properly. And it's really, really important that they get it right, because if they don't get it right, then what is going to happen is that this is going to cause a rupture within relations that is going to cause flare-ups and tensions. So it's important for every side that, not that they're happy, but that they're content with the deal.
Hope that the DUP don't decide to put a spanner in the works just on principle.